Thanks for wonderful introduction. Thanks, Peter, for setting the stage. It's such an honor to be here and addressing you guys. You are already experts. I'm just putting my view here. That's the context. Um, I'm just trying to put what we are doing in the industry and sharing knowledge and understanding what we have already been doing. Um, we are Blazeclan Technologies. We are a premier partner for cloud. That's what we do. And some of our credentials, we have been working with Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, Snowflake, some other technology platforms we have been helping organizations adopt and use this as a catalyst to leverage the technology and modernize the landscape. That's what we have been doing. Uh, there's a other lot of ecosystems we have been actually playing in, and we act as an integrator across the technology platforms. Modernization journeys is what we are actually usually uh, acting as catalysts, helping organizations actually take them from ground zero to where they can actually go to and define that kind of a roadmap. Uh, we are present in Gartner Magic Quadrant. We are a challenger in that Magic Quadrant for cloud transformation. IDC has special mentions for us. Uh, People first. That's why we are a great workplace. We really believe that in all the consulting businesses, that's the core pillar, and that's what we do. We strongly believe in. Modernization across industries. These are some of the industries we have been actually impacting. Financial services. We have seen what's actually happening. The core industry where we saw talk about the banks, where we talk about the insurance companies, non-banking lending companies. All these companies are having a great threat from the business of what we can say the newcomers, the fintech companies. So modernizing is important for them. And we have seen there's a great challenge in that kind of space, how they're actually working. There's a challenger kind of a place coming in from all the new tech companies for disrupting the business. So there is an ecosystem where organizations are collaborating together with all these large organizations. But we have been working with one of the largest banks in the world, uh, where we are actually trying to transform their net banking and phone banking. Uh, is it better? Thank you. Okay, I'll be a bit louder as well. So where we have been working with them, and we are actually trying to help them modernize their net banking and phone banking experience. They are also working with other ecosystem players to actually do that. Similarly, in the manufacturing, Industry 4.0 is kind of norm nowadays. Everybody wants to actually take that step. A lot of open components to work with. A lot of data is getting generated. IoT is into play. How you actually make best use of these things? How are your ERP systems actually going and upgrading to the next level? These are the key things which we actually come and play and work with organizations to help them in the modernize. Retail CPG is again a very important industry component, where we are actually helping in retail industries modernize their retail behaviors, understand how they can actually engage the customers in a much better way. Some of the industries where we have already helped them. Hospitality is the final vertical where we have been working with. These are some of them. We're actually talking to a large, working with a large hotel chain, where they are trying to change the experience of their end customers by actually realigning their internal org. Why are they realigning their internal org? Because they are layered. So typical industry is they're layered in terms of IT support desks, but nobody's talking about what is going to happen in hotel ops, what's going to happen in the booking structures, who is going to check in. So nobody's talking about each domain segment, subdomain segment in that particular industry. So we're actually going and working with them, realigning and reorganizing the whole structure, and structuring ourselves so that we are domain specific and working with them to actually uplift that domain wise experience for the end customers. So some of these are the areas where we are actually modernizing. So it's not the modernization only at the technology level. It's also at the modernization of the reorganizing ourselves structurally and modernizing all the with streamlining the journey of modernization. We have been all talking about what modernization looks like. Peter, thanks a lot for actually putting what modernization is. Uh, it's a very, very broad topic and a very, very confusing topic as well. So there's no silver bullet of what modernization means. And we can keep saying, as Peter said, that after 20 years, we can be on the same stage and saying that, are we really modernizing to the next level? What the modernization is going to be? Uh, and if we have been talking about it 20 years back, we still would have been talking about modernization. Maybe the term would have been slightly different. We're using the modernization and coining the modernization as a term. It would have been okay from legacy to something else kind of a situation. So modernization is a continuous journey. I'll always say that it's a continuous journey, but in point in time, you'll have to take a look of your landscape, complete landscape. What is your IT landscape? And how can you modernize it? And what are your key pillars to modernize? And what is the biggest challenge when we actually talk about modernization and say that we want to take away the technical debt? The biggest challenge is the business cases don't stack up. You go to your uh, financial counterparts, they say, the head of the finance or the CFOs, you put it on the board, you say that I want to modernize and this is my program and this is what it will look like. The point will be, okay, technology debt will go, we accumulated it. Why will we fund it? What is the business outcome from it? Peter actually put it in a way, say that, yes, this is what the key challenge is. But in our industry, particularly in India as a region, which I understand is a very different, and ROI becomes very, very important in that case. So how to stack a case together becomes very tricky. How are we actually stacking that business case is going to be kind of the key conversation point. How do we stack that? I'll just try to put what we actually have been doing. I'll give an example of one of the media companies, how we stacked up the use case there and how business case there. It was the era when the organization was actually trying to transform. It was a I'll give a brief of the organization first. Maybe that will set the context together, and then we'll put it together. It was an organization in ASEAN where they are having 200 plus channels, TV channels. So it was a media giant, and they were actually at the cusp of getting to OTT platforms. They were not having their own OTT platforms. It was a regional player, obviously having the language kind of and dominance and all that. But they were getting threatened by the larger OTT platforms who were actually going into the different markets sometime around 5 years back. And we actually started creating a case for them. And what we created a case for them was create uh, an approach where you can actually build in this new OTT platform and also modernize, because what was working for their direct to home was actually a subscription base, which is very controlled. And their new subscription base is not going to be controlled. So all the systems which are working will not now work for the new future thing. And if they have to actually invest in the futuristic technology components, the cost is going to be very high. So what we actually worked on is this business case where we actually helped them identify the areas where the technology spend was on the licensed softwares, which are the key licensed softwares they were having, and we actually created a business case, which are the areas, what kind of technology bits they can use, and put a complete business case by removing the technology components which are uh, heavy on cost due to licensing and moving from licensed to open source component, using technologies which were actually not required, retiring a lot of technology bits, having components which are more sustainable in terms of growth perspective, where they can actually grow. Using these kind of approaches, we created a business case which was actually becoming self-funding in long term, around 5 years business case that is becoming a self-funding approach. And hence, that was a business case we put forward and started transforming their technology stacks one by one. And that actually was scalable technology stack for the futuristic, where they launched the OTT platform with that backbone. That was one of the cases which we did. There there are different technology things which we actually do. Okay, so that's where we say that what's the business need and how can you actually really set the stage for the business, and how can you actually really work towards creating a business case for your modernization journey. Even if before you actually say that I want to do assessment, what's my technology stack? There should be a business case stacking together. And then you assess it, you mobilize and do the modernization. So that journey, everybody understands that, but actually creating that business case becomes more important. How the fund will play. So again, this is again part of that where we actually see what are the key components. How can you actually utilize the different technology approaches or the architectural approaches to modernize your stack, which will actually bring direct or indirect benefit, which will stack up your commercial case. So that's what we have actually put forward here. So modernization is an increment journey. It's not a one-shot journey. But when you actually do that modernization in an incremental way, you also have to consider what are the areas you'll actually look at and what are the impacts they will actually give you in the long run. Key areas of modernization. So modernization can be actually layered into three different areas in a broader way. That is infrastructure modernization, where core infrastructure components are there, application modernization, and the data modernization. Putting all these three layers, core three layers into the play can actually guide you how you actually want to quadrant your technology landscape and how do you want to modernize it. Uh, Cloud was one of the key catalysts for the infrastructure modernization component. There are a lot of other components which are becoming architectural changes for the application components, like serverless architectures and other things which are coming in a modern way where you can actually have API-based structures. You can have SaaS platforms coming into play. You can have PaaS platforms coming into play for the application modernization component. Then you have data modernization journeys. Data is a big legacy play, but there are a lot of data silos which have been created and they're not talking together. And when you want to actually take a business outcome from that, the data is not modernized. It's become there's so much of tech debt which has been actually accumulated over the years on that data platform that they're not modernized. So cloud data platforms become very, what we can say, vital for making that modernization journey happen. So technologies like Snowflake, Databricks become very, very key and crucial to help us take that step. There are other modernization areas where security modernization. When you're modernizing your infrastructure, you're going on cloud, what was working till now suddenly starts breaking. And that's the conversation a lot of companies are having. How do we modernize the cloud security posture? And how do we actually have cloud security posture controlled? Control itself is so difficult. It should be easier, right? Why is it difficult? It should not be difficult, but it's difficult currently. We have to actually find out what can be actually done differently to manage that kind of a approach. So in cloud security posture management, what we have seen, organizations fail to keep a continuous cloud security posture management approach. There are technology enablements which can be done to actually have a continuous security posture management, which can give a control on daily basis. Everything is a code, so it should be easy for configuring a security posture on cloud. And that's what we do. We have platforms to actually do such kind of things. So I don't want to talk about common challenges of Indian industry as much as you can talk about it. You are the pioneers in your own areas and you understand what the challenges are. Some of them are actually put here from that perspective. We understand and we understand the ecosystem here. It's different than the global ecosystem. It's not same. Whenever actually I go and talk to a same vertical organization like a bank in a different country, the compliance, the governance needs are different. There are very, very stringent governance and regulation components which are actually coming in India as compared to other countries. So it's a different environment. Similarly, in manufacturing, it's very different domain. The kind of scale India has is very, very different from the globe. So in all these aspects, India is really different, and the industry has unique challenges that way. All the segments of industries have different, unique challenges. So you all understand that, and it needs a different approach, and that's why when you actually understand that ecosystem, you actually put that approach in a different way. When we say that, okay, we are having 100 million hits per second uh, on a particular retail platform, uh, that seems to kind of an unknown in a region where, for example, Peter is coming from Australia, in that kind of a region where you will not get such kind of huge scale. Your retail is actually scaling up, but the scale here is unmatchable. Some of our key products here, Cloudlytics. Uh, I was talking about cloud security posture management. We have three platforms which we have built in house, understanding the technology challenges and the gaps in these areas. And we have built some of these solutions. And one of it is Cloud Analytics. It's a cloud security posture management tool. It helps in keeping the cloud security posture intact continuously. The second key challenge when using cloud is Cloud FinOps. We again created a platform, it's a SaaS-based platform called SpendFix. This helps in actually controlling the spend you do on cloud. It gives you recommendations to make sure that what is right spend and what can you actually really plug up, put a plug on and actually save that spend. And this parts, it's an AI ops tool where you actually run your operations continuously in an AI ops driven approach, having a lot of auto healing factors and other things into the play. So these all three are SaaS platform. These are built by Blazeclan. We use these as technologies as our key leverages for serving our customers in a better way. It's a product as differentiator, which comes into play when we actually come and serve you guys in any way form. So we have products, we have set of what we can say toolkits for modernizing, and this is set of toolkits we are having for modernization across different segments of the technology piece. So we have something for migration accelerations. We have areas where we can actually do DevOps. We have areas where we do security modernization. So all across the journey, we have actually built some kind of toolkits help accelerate the modernization journey. That's where we actually help organizations come and play, fasten the process of modernization. We become more prescriptive with our toolkits and do that modernization in a particular. Couple of use cases. I think use cases are more interesting than what we do, what we have done. There's another use case where it was an Australian education tech company having built their legacy platforms around for 3 decades, 4 decades. So that's what their legacy was, and they were desperate systems. All needed an installation first to onboard any educational institute on them, and then only they can actually utilize the platform for the issue. It was not scalable for them from a business perspective. They were not able to actually acquire enough institutes uh, and install them and actually make them running up and running because the cost of running was very high. The second problem was that over the 40 years journey, they have actually acquired a lot of other companies and all those platforms were desperate. They were not talking to each other. They were actually set of suite of platforms, but all disparate, not talking, having those challenges of each gets needs to be installed, each works in a very different way. So we actually went ahead, did the complete assessment, and created a approach where we actually modernize all these platforms into one single suite, which is a SaaS-based platform. And using our SaaS factory approach, we actually SaaSified the complete platform. And this is where the onboarding started becoming very easy and all that. And they were able to actually expand. The ambition was to expand beyond Australian boundaries, go global, and that's what we help them to do. This is back home here in India. One of the NBFCs which were actually preparing themselves for going big and scaling the business. They were having cloud security as one where they when they started adopting cloud, cloud security became one of the key things. It's highly regulated industry in BFC, so regulations were very hard on them, and they wanted to find out a mechanism where they can actually do complete end-to-end cloud security posture management and cloud security management as such. This is where we actually came in with our tools. Cloudlytics became the primary access to actually modernize their security posture. We use other tools and we actually not only maintain their security posture, but we also do the managed services for them for end-to-end security posture management. So it's not that that's bringing them to what is required, but actually taking from that point and having that continuous defense mechanism there. This is for one of the organizations where we were talking about data modernization. The data was legacy. It was what we can say data was on their on-prem kind of an environment, which was Netezza, and they wanted to actually move away from Netezza and use modern data warehousing approach. And that's where we actually modernized the data warehousing approach for the retail company. So we use that kind of an approach, which we actually had that data modernization approach to them. We actually moved them from Netezza, and Netezza was taken out. It was actually run on Spark, on cloud, with some component on the SAP BI, which was existing there and what needs to be actually utilized. That's that time in the. I know I was holding you back between the tea and what is an exciting session in the evening. So thanks a lot. I'll be around in the evening. Happy to talk about any specific use cases where we can help you and support you. Thanks everyone. Yeah, for listening. Mutually.